Hey everyone, good evening. Back for another Chips and Bricks. We've had some times looking back at Evoke in the last weekend for the past few years. Today we're gonna be looking at some parties which happened over the last few weeks in August. Mainly Atwoods, Decrunch, Euskal and Forndata. Some are bigger, some are smaller. It doesn't matter. They had releases, and we are going to play them. As again, we are going to play them from real hardware. So we have our Commodore 64 here. We have our Amiga 600. Mr. Screen is also here. And then there is me, the arrogant bastard. That's just being faced by OBS that's decided to forget the entire audio setup 5 minutes before we have to go live. Luckily, it's only one input that I need to reconfigure, so that went hokey-dory and pretty swell. Let's start off. We have 17 intros and demos ready for you today. We're gonna start out with the C64 stuff, because we can, and that means that we are going to start with the stuff from Atwoods, which was an event, an open air event organized by people from the C64 Club Berlin, so it's a German event. Some pretty nice releases, some pretty cool stuff. Let's just start, see where we end up, because C64 release some nice demos, and that's it. And of course, I don't prepare these scripts or I don't write anything. Let's just go. Here's a C64. The first one is Tentro, by the way, by the Vintage Computing Carinthia. Little tiny intro, little bouncy sprites over there. Nothing wrong with it. Nice little small release. Up next is a 2.k kilobyte intro by Onslaught. And when we look at the directory structure, it's actually bigger, has more directory structure than it actually intro. Nevertheless, it's a nice small thingy. Lovely color setup, by the way. Some really nice timing there on the horizontal raster bar. Small scroller, small tune, nothing special about it. Still a very nice color scheme design. And yes, the first entries are always a bit shorter and smaller. We kind of want to make it a bit interesting that we keep the good stuff for the end. Although we put in the banger in the front every now and then. Next one is also from Atwoods, and this is Petsky art, and it's by South Park, and titled, see if I get this right, What Seems to Be the Officer, Problem. I'll play this one playing a bit longer because I think it's pretty cool, Petsky, and it's funny. And that's it for this little Petsky intro here. What seems to be the Officer Problem by South Park. And next up is a firstie. It's called a firstie because it is the first production of season 4 of this specific person. It's called Broken Piano. It's by Delicit. Little intro, little music. Still, there is some text going over and under the picture, which is always a nice addition. So yes, some effort was put into this. Absolutely not bad for a firstie, if I may say so. Up next, Abyss Connection. We have played their productions and demos before. Sometimes it's small little intro, just say, hey guys, we were here. And they release something in the competition, otherwise it's a bigger demo. This is of the first kind, little tiny intro, say, okay guys, we were here. Always good. You can always... Abyss Connection is one of those groups that always has a release of some kind. If it's not something big, it's something small, and that's absolutely fine. The biggest mistake you can make is to wait until your first demo or intro is what you assume to be good enough. No, it doesn't matter. Just release it when it's more or less ready. You know, if you are gonna keep tweaking and optimizing it, sometimes you just have to say, let's release it. And nothing here with Abyss Connection, obviously, just in general. Okay, so, Abyss Connection, and looking at the temperatures that we've had here in Europe in the last few days, this is pretty logically called hot. when you look at it, there's a lot more going on than you would initially think. So, okay, first of all, the logo is pretty static. But then you have the horizontal bar going behind it. That's just your background color, obviously. Then you have a 2x2 character set multicolor scroller and some extra horizontal raster lines over there going from a color table. And around the tent you have the stars going around. Those are very likely sprites. So still nice little thingy. 3-4 things happening at the same time. Pretty good for a small release saying, hey, okay, we were here. Yes, I know we're zooming through the first releases at a pretty fast pace because they're all basically smaller one-screeners. It'll, change later on. We're going through what's been released in August, so that's what we have to work with. I'll blame about Novo later. I'll just do that later. Next up is Honcho and Atlantis in a production called Lockdown. So, pretty cool sprite scroll in the upper and in the side borders with the big scroll text. That's actually pretty nifty, if I may say so. Little logo with color change. Very lovely one screeners that we have had at Atwoods. We're gonna have a few more from that party. So next one up is Just for Run by Rabenauge. I think it's also a little one screener, but let's have a look. And yeah, let's just reboot and load that up. And there we go. Well, it's what you see more regular with C64 only parties, normal like 25-30 visitors. But in the end, everybody knows each other and they're all cooperating, doing left and right. Okay, you need graphics, you need music. People just come together and do their stuff. Same for the next one. We've seen entries by Delicit here, and also mentioning movement in Atlantis. So the next one up is by Atlantis and Delicit. It's called Scene of the Living Dead. And before that, I need to restart because this is a disk image that we're gonna load up. Is there any disk directory art? Oh yes, there is. And actually, pretty nice one. Let's get that loaded up and see if we have a nice screen clear. Okay, cool. Enjoy. And that was it for this one. The Scene of the Living Dead by Atlantis and Delisit. Really, really cool high-res graphics and high-res sprites everywhere on the screen. Really, really lovely demo. Also the high point from Atwoods, so that's automatically makes it the last release from this party. However, it's not the last C64 release that we're going to look at here in this episode of Chips and Bricks, because we have one more on that platform, which is from June already. I have to go back a little bit more, but we haven't covered this little party yet. Well, little party, it was also held online. Foreign data, usually held on on a larger Swedish island. What land? I'm bad in archaeology. So yeah, they also had to move online because of the well-known reasons, and there were some releases, even lots of graphic stuff, lots of music stuff, and actually some demos. So we are gonna go with one C64 and one Amiga release, which was put into the online competition, which of course, as mentioned, dates back from June. Doesn't matter. Where is my remote control? Here's my remote control. So, up next is Pretzel Logic and Untold Stories #1, released at Forndata online in June. Nice little intro, lovely way how they stretch the image using sprites into the top and also the bottom border. Scroller going behind the image. And not too bad of a color scheme either as well. So this was Untold Stories #1 by Pretzel Logic. One of the releases from the online edition of Forndata 2020. We're gonna jump with one entry now. Are we? Yes, we are. We are, yes. One more entry from Forndata, was a multi-platform, and for that we are gonna jump to the Amiga 600. Again, this is an Amiga 600 with 2 megabytes of chip RAM and 8 megabytes of fast RAM running on the default CPU, so a 68,000. The floppy is replaced by a flash floppy running Gotek drive, obviously, because it makes it a lot easier and a lot more reliable. So let's go to, I need to change my screen over here, our Amiga, and get that running. Some background info here, by the way. So, Insane, the group, has had the insane, or, cool idea actually to release one thing every month. And this is the Junity, released in June, of that challenge, number 6 of 12, as you can read in the scroller. Okay, cool. A few scrollers, a few text writers. Nice color pattern here going on. It's a small thing, fine, nothing wrong with it. Jumping ahead, we're going to leave Sweden now, Forndata, and we're going to Euskal. We've had a few entries there as well. Euskal has been going on for more than a few years, very long actually. We've had a few entries selected here, but we can only play one because the second one we had planned just takes 5 minutes of audio pre-calculation, and that just takes forever, and although I can blabble about a bunch, I cannot blabble so much. So with that being said, we are going to go through that entry. It is by Goblins, and it is appropriately named COVID XX COVID 20, released at Euskal. And that was that for this release from Euskal. Also held online, obviously. Now we are going to... Yes! It actually exits nicely, which is cool. Up next is, and I'm gonna already load it up because it takes a while to initialize actually, is a release not linked to a party, just thrown out there and into the public. which is absolutely fine as well, of course. It is Yes by Agima, and this is kind of a challenge because it is written in Almos. Almos is a basic-like language released for the Amiga in the late 80s, early 90s. I think it's originated on the Atari ST even. And you can actually do pretty good games and demos in it, although you do have some libraries which need to do the translation and interpretation. And that's why this took a long time to a Decrunch. I can blabber, it's done. Let's check this entry out. That was that. Pretty good for Almos, actually, like all the flat line vectors. I think it's actually restarting right now. So let's... Yes, it is. Let's just continue to the next one. Again, from Insane, I found another one. So the last one was... Let's just leave it at this for a while so I can talk. Oh, dear Lord, what are you doing? Doesn't matter. So, Insane was doing some more stuff. Let me... I am talking. Why don't you wait for 5 minutes while I do that? So, Insane said, okay, we're gonna do an entry every month or so. And we already saw its Unity in the Forndata releases. And in May, of course, I also had to release one. And this is the one next. It's coming up. Nicely called Hey, It's May by the Insane people from Insane. Let's put our USB stick back in. It's always fun when you're doing it live. Cool. Let's go back to the Amiga. And with this one, we are going to leave the Euskal and the independent releases, what a word, the without the party releases behind us, and go ahead and go to Decrunch, which is a party in Poland. Let's mute this for a second. Here we are. So up is Decrunch party in Poland. Some Amiga releases as well. Some compo fillers. Some actually really nice ones. Where's my volume control? It's over here. Yes, here it is. Lovely. So that before we do that, however, we have to do some shopping, and I want to thank, as every week, our sponsor, consolekables.be, who provide us with all the cables and all the power supplies and all the gear that we use to run this weekly show. Plus, as well, we also run our unscripted bricks every now and then when we feel like it. In order to be notified of that, you can check our website chipsandbricks.eu for our links to Facebook and YouTube, as well as twitch.tv/chipsandbricks, where subscribe, follow, notification bell, and you will be notified when we go live, when something happens, when something is announced. Decrunch, that's next. That's why they pop the disc in. And the first is an entry by the Crap team, and it's called Crap Crunch. And this is I think they might have seen this as a bit of a compo filler. This is Late Insane. That's their May release. Now we are jumping to Decrunch in Poland. And that's it for this release. It kind of loops now. So this was Crap Crunch by Crap Team on Decrunch 2020. Up next is Total Crap by UAB. I don't know, don't be so negative. A release is a release, demo is a demo. Even if it's a compo filler, it's still not crap. You have worked on it and you deserve some self-respect, so give it to yourself as well. And there we go, another self-proclaimed Captro. I still like the copper bars and the Amiga ball. You cannot go wrong with an Amiga ball in an Amiga demo. I know it's getting cheap votes, etc. in the compo, but still, it counts and you can do it. So go ahead. So I think also looking at the name and looking at the file a bit earlier, also could be an Almos entry. I've explained Almos just earlier on. Samar Productions is next with demo of intro, so one screener I think, called Red, also released on Decrunch, which was held in Poland, late July, early August, as you can see on the screen. All in all, a pretty decent line vector, and well, the scroller is not single pixel, but that's, you know, that's a 90s thing. So sure, fine, that's cool. Next up is our last demo from Decrunch. Also on Amiga. It is we're putting it pretty late in the show because we are a bit afraid that it might kill the stream or the encoding. It is pretty noisy when it comes down to the video, actually. It is called A New World Order, and it is by the Electronic Knights. Let's get the disc in there and reboot our Amiga and check that out. I think it's a pretty awesome demo, and it takes me back, because old person, to the 90s, where it was all like this kind of video VHS thing, moving over each other. Let's just have a look and make up your own mind, but I like this one.
Jesteśmy tak i mamy wiadomość. Mamy wiadomość. Jesteśmy tak i mamy wiadomość.
And this is more or less where it loops. Now, let's do that this way. So, also, this was the last demo of this week's show. Why? Last weekend, yesterday, was no Vogue. I say, well, sure, no problem. Looking at the last years, we're gonna have some nice entries on alternative platforms. We'll have some C64 stuff, some Amiga stuff, maybe some Mega Drive, maybe some VCS. Nothing. So yeah, we were short a few entries for our 2B playlist. So apologies for that, but still we're more or less near the hour mark where I always want to be. And we added some stuff left and right, and still cool. So that being said, if you want to stay updated on all the stuff, you know, do the follow. If you're on Twitch watching this, do the subscribe. If you're rewatching this on the YouTube, if you want to hit the notification bell to get a message when we upload something. When do we do this? Every Sunday, 8 p.m. CET, Brussels, Amsterdam, Paris, that time zone. And when we feel like it, we do unscripted bricks. That just gets announced, like, okay, last time we've been looking at some pack discs on Amiga, which was pretty fun. And that's it. Again, our URLs are chipsandbricks.eu. Our Facebook page is also there, /chipsandbricks. Twitch.tv/chipsandbricks. And for now, I'm gonna have to say adios, and we will see you again next week, because for this week, sadly, this is it. Goodbye.